welcome back. Today I am doing a video that was created, I believe, by Samantha March. If I am incorrect in that, I will leave the proper information in the description box below, but I believe it was created by Samantha March. And I was watching Kaily Bauté's video on this, and it is if I could only keep one palette from each brand. And the ones that I specifically did was eyeshadow, and I picked 10 separate brands. And I picked brands that I had 3 or more palettes from. So there are some other brands that I have a couple of in my collection, or maybe I only have 1 of in my collection, but these are all specific ones that I had 3 or more, and I picked 10 brands, and which one would I keep out of those 10 brands? As usual, I will leave Samantha and Kayly's videos and channels linked in the description box below so you can go and check them out. Now, these are all in a random order. I just have like a big thing here that I kind of shoved them all in and prayed to God that I would not drop as I was carrying it from 2 stories up down to my basement to film this today. So I'm just going to randomly pull out the brands, whatever is kind of on top. They are in no particular order whatsoever. The first brand that I have here is Morphe, and I have had many other palettes in the past, and I currently only have these 3. I have decluttered all the rest of the ones that I had, but these ones have stayed with me because they are still fairly unique to my collection, and they are ones that I enjoy using, and I'm not too overwhelmed by the amount of shadows in each of these palettes. So I do have the 35E, the 35F, and the Jaclyn Hill palette. I'm sure most of you are familiar with all of them, but I will just quickly show them to you. This is the Jaclyn Hill. This is the 35F. And the thing that I like most about this palette, even though this is not what this video is about, is it has a row of mattes right here, and then the rest are shimmers. And then I have the 35E palette, and it is an all shimmer palette, and it looks like this. And out of all 3 palettes, this one is my favorite from the brand. I don't mind that it is all shimmers. I have no problem pulling out some single shadows to incorporate with these that are matte to make a look. I just really like all the colors in here. I mean, it has a ton of these champagne-y colors and then a bunch of other a pretty good variety of other colors in it as well. So I really do like this palette. It is my favorite out of my Morphe palettes. The next brand on the top would be Juvia's Place, and I just picked 3 from this brand to bring down to show you. I have the Nubian 2. Try not to drop things on my... So this would be the Nubian 2. I have the Zulu palette. And then the favorite out of all the ones that I have would be the Magic palette, and it is this one. And I just really like the wide variety of colors. I really like the deepness to the colors in particular. I really do like color, but I am more of a jewel tone and deep saturated color person than a neon and bright person. And this one just speaks to me on so many levels. This color here, what is it? Basso, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but this one on its own is beautiful, but when you top some of these matte shades in here with this, it just transforms it and makes it a beautiful duochrome type of shade and completely changes the color that is the matte that you were using. So it's really diverse and unique, and I really do like this palette. The next brand that I have is Tarte, and I do have the Tarteist Pro, I have the Pro Remix, and I have the Rainforest of the Sea. I think this is volume 1. Again, if you aren't familiar with them, this is what the volume 1 Rainforest of the Sea looks like. This is the Tarteist Pro. And my favorite out of the bunch would be the Tarteist Remix. And again, we have those deep, beautiful colors in there. We have those emeralds and those sapphire colors, and then we have like the ruby up here. Just beautiful colors. I know some people aren't impressed with this just because of the layout, because the other one was all matte with all the shimmers along here, the first one, and this one they just kind of put them wherever. But that doesn't bother me. I can make a look out of this. It does have, I think, 3 mattes in here, and that works well enough for me. Again, I can always pull other shades from single shadows or other palettes if I need to. I'm not opposed to doing that, but this does have a good base that I can work with. And this is my favorite Tarte palette that I own. The next brand that I have is Beauty Creations, and I do have, what, 5 palettes here by them? Let's show you a few of the ones that I have here. I have this one here, which is the In Bloom palette, and it's just a pretty kind of purpley pinky spring kind of palette. Then I have the Esmerelda 2, which is these shades, which are these shades. And then I have the Emerald palette, or I believe as it was called originally, the Esmeralda 1, and for whatever reason they changed it. This is a fantastic dupe for the Subculture palette as well. And my favorite, if you couldn't guess, would be the Esmeralda 2. Again, we have those deeper shades in here. We have like a teal kind of emerald color, and we have this kind of mustardy gold, and we have this purple here, and if you're not sensing a theme, those are the colors I like, even though, you know, I don't mind wearing a little bit more of a brighter color sometimes, and I probably should, like, you know, mix this up a little bit so that there's other shade selections going on, but for the most part, these are what I would gravitate to in each category, in each brand that I'm pulling. So I guess that just kind of goes to show that I do kind of have a favorite when it comes to colors. The next brand that I have here is Too Faced, and I do have the Sugar Pop palette, the Chocolate Bonbons, and the Chocolate Gold palette. This is the Sugar Pop palette. This is the Chocolate Gold palette. As I'm blinding you with my ring light, I am sorry. Oh, that smells good. That got a big whiff of chocolate. And then I have the Chocolate Bonbons palette. And I would have to say this is actually a tough call for me. And I think if I had push come to shove, I would go with the Chocolate Gold, just because, again, it just has those deeper, more saturated colors in it. It has that green, it has that purple. I'm good with that. I like that. But this palette is really nice too. I mean, it does have this purple here, and I love using this kind of tangerine shade. It's called Macaroon, and this teal is really nice as well. So not far behind is this one, especially for summertime. But if I could only pick one, I think it would be this one. The next brand would be ColourPop, and I do have several from the brand, and I will just show you these top three. So I do have this semi-precious one here to show you. It's an all shimmer palette. Again, I don't mind that. I have the My Little Pony palette, which looks like this. And I have the Wet palette, which looks like this. So my favorite, surprisingly, out of all of the ones that I have, I mean, I do have Dream Street, and I have one with a bunch of single shadows, would be the My Little Pony palette. As much as I love the semi-precious and the Wet palette, I just feel like I can get a lot more looks out of this palette because it has more versatility to it. Now, by far, Makeup Revolution has the most palettes in my collection, from their chocolate bar type of palettes to their collabs that they've done with other influencers and that sort of thing. So I only took 3 down today that I wanted to show you. So I do have the Macaroons palette, and it's one of their chocolate bar style palettes, and this is what it looks like. And I have the Salvation palette Iconic Pro 2, and this is a dupe for, I believe, the Lorac Pro 2. I think it's number 2. Really nice. I really like how this has all the mattes on one row and all the shimmers on the other. And then I do have the Fortune Favors the Brave palette, and this is what it looks like. And this palette I used not long ago. Again, it came up in my Shop My Stash. And I have to say, even though this isn't my favorite, spoiler alert, out of the ones that I brought down today, this one surprised me at how well it worked. And it reminded me of how well some of the Makeup Revolution shadows do work, and how well they blend and that sort of thing. And I know Makeup Revolution can be hit and miss when it comes to their shadows, but this palette in particular is really good. However, if I'm going just by the color story and how much I'm enjoying using a palette, I'm going to go with the Macaroons palette. It just has those pops of green and teal in there mixed with a few other things that just makes me happy when I look at it. So that is why this one is the win for my Makeup Revolution palette. So brand number 8 would be Pure Cosmetics, and I have 3 palettes here. I have the, again, another My Little Pony palette, and this is what this one looks like. Then I have the Pure and BoxyCharm palette, and that's what this one looks like. And then I have the Pure Trolls palette, and this is what this one looks like. This one was a really hard one for me between the My Little Pony and the Trolls one. So I just kind of went with what I would like all year round, because if I'm honest, right now this My Little Pony palette is screaming summer and spring to me, and it's just all these bright beautiful colors, and I don't mind wearing bright beautiful colors sometimes, but I'm just like, if I looked at this in the fall or winter, I probably would have a harder time pulling out a look with this one. I mean, it's possible, it does have a lot of deeper shades in it, but the bright colors in here just pop out to me so much that I think I would ignore them and have a hard time with it. So I went with the Trolls palette because even though it is a little bit more deep and the bold saturated colors, it is something that I could use all year round and not be what's the word? And not be distracted by some of the brighter colors that are in the other palette. I mean, this does have some brighter colors. We have this bright pink, and we have this, you know, kind of silvery color here, which is Guy Diamond, who, by the way, is my favorite troll, so that's pretty cool. But yes, I would have to say the Pure Trolls palette is my favorite palette from Pure. Okay, moving along, number 9. I have Cargo Cosmetics, and I have 3 palettes from them. I have this one called the Essentials, and it is just a very neutral, cool tone palette. I'm running out of space. I'm stacking. Then I have the Namaste in India palette. And we have those greens and that gold, and it's just a pretty palette there. And then I have the Cargo Havana Nights eyeshadow palette, and it just looks like this. And again, this was a hard one for me. It was between the Namaste in India and the Havana Nights palette, and I went with the Namaste in India just because, again, if I'm looking at it year-round, this is the one that I'm going to gravitate to more than the Havana Nights. And for number 10, I do have Anastasia Beverly Hills. I only have 3 palettes by her, but I think we're all familiar with what most of these look like. But in case we're new and we've been living under a rock, this is the Modern Renaissance. This is the Riviera. And this is the Norvina. And if I had to pick one, oh my goodness, it's between these 2 again. It's so hard to pick because I think this would be the one because, again, going back to if I'm thinking throughout the year, this is one that I would be okay with using in the fall and winter as well as the spring and summer. Whereas this Riviera one, as much as I like it, and again, this is in my summer shop, my stash, I would have a hard time looking past a lot of these bright neon type of shades. Not that you can't make looks throughout the year, but I know for me, I'm like, all I'm seeing is like this bright pink and this teal, and I'm just like, that's all that's in this palette. I'm like, wait, no, we have this, and we have this, and we have this, and we have this, and this. Like, pretty much the rest of the palette would work the rest of the year, but because I'm just focusing on kind of those bright shades, it kind of throws me for a loop. So, if I could only pick one, I wish all of her packaging was more this canvasy type of thing than this velvety thing, because this is just ugly and dirty and gross. But the inside, which matters, I would pick the Norvina palette. This would be my palette that I would pick from this brand. And those are the palettes that I would pick from each of these 10 brands. Do you like the bright neon colors, or are you like me and you prefer the bold, you know, the saturated and deep colors? How many times have I said this in the video? Not sure. Or are you on the other end of the spectrum and you prefer minimal color and a more neutral look? I would really like to know. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And I hope you have a fantastic day. Bye-bye.